Hello everyone, welcome back to Believers Science Academy, Bengaluru. This is the daily news analysis. Today, that is 29th August 2025, we'll discuss few articles important from prelims, mains and interview perspective. So, the first article is about US calls Ukraine war Modi's war amid India-US trade clash. A very provocative statement calling Ukraine-Russia war as Modi's war. So, US is making more provocative statement amid the tariff clash. So, we have to see why USA is moving so harshly or why USA is moving so hastily. First, we'll understand the relevance important from GS2 IR and also important from GS3 because of economy and external trade. Background. What is the background? So we all know that Trump administration has imposed 25% secondary sanctions on Indian goods for its continued purchases of Russian oil in addition to earlier 25% reciprocal tariffs. So this decision effectively means 50% tariffs on Indian exports to the USA from August 27. 50% tariffs, meaning Indian goods will be costlier, Indian goods will be uncompetitive, Indian goods will become more costlier so that people are going to buy alternative goods rather than buying Indian goods. So it is going to impact Indian exports very badly. Next, Washington argues that India is profiteering by buying discounted Russian crude oil, refining it, and exporting refined products, especially from facilities like Vadinar refinery in Gujarat. They are saying you are making blood money here. What is the blood money here? You are buying oil from Russia at a discounted price, and the money you are giving to Russia, Russia is using it for war against Ukraine. So that money is being used by Russia for their war purposes, and India, while buying the discounted price or oil at the discounted price, you are refining it and reselling it. Again, you are also making blood money. So you are profiteering out of someone's misfortune. That is what US's argument is, but that is not at all true. Because India is doing it for its own strategic interest, its own energy security, not for profiteering. So key developments in recent years is or recent weeks is a strong rhetoric. That is, USA trade advisor Peter Navarro called Ukraine conflict at Modi's war, accusing India of arrogance and profiteering. He claimed that Indian tariffs harm US workers, consumers, and taxpayers. So, this is a very strong controversial statement by USA. You cannot, like, you cannot point out a particular country saying that they are the reason, or you cannot point out a particular prime minister saying that they are the reason for someone else's war. So, this is what USA always does whenever some country doesn't buy into its needs, doesn't buy to its heights. That is what India is experiencing at the moment. US Treasury standpoint. Secretary Scott Bessent said that India-US is a complicated relationship, as if we didn't know it already. Next is, he criticized India's delays in trade deal talks plus continued Russian crude purchases. And finally, he claimed Indian rupee as is at an all-time low because of these disputes. He said that everything bad is happening at India is because of India's move to support support Russia and distance USA. Next, Democratic Party pushback. So Trump belongs to Republicans, so their opponent parties pushback. They said Democrats slammed Trump for singling out India when China imports more Russian oil. So if you want to be so cautious, or if you want to be so truthful, if you want to be for justiciable country, you should hold everyone accountable, not just signaling out or singling out India, not just being biased towards a particular country. Because India imports 32% of oil from Russia, whereas China imports 50% of Russian oil. Despite that, USA is carrying out its trade from Russia, and also USA is carrying out its trade from China. So now they are just singling out or signaling out India because they think India is going to heed to their demands. Okay, they think they are in a position to bully India, but they are not in a position to bully China. So they say that it called it harmful to US interest, businesses, and strategic India-USA partnership. So there are few persons with some sort of common sense in USA also, that is from Democratic Party. Then former officials concerned, such as Kenneth Jester, who is a former US ambassador to India, and Mark Liscott, who is a US trade negotiator, warned this could derail a win-win relationship into a lose-lose for both India and USA. So this is the most apt explanation of the ongoing trade conflict between India and USA. There is not going to be any winner. It is going to be lose for lose. Lose in India from revenue loss, lose for USA from increased cost or increased inflation. That is what urged diplomacy with hopes of Trump Modi meeting at the UNGA in September. We have to wait and see what the UNGA meeting between Trump and Modi is going to offer us. Analysis, that is the economical impact. First, we'll understand economic implications of this move. The 50% tariff threatened Indian exports to US, hurting key sectors like textile, steel, and engineering goods. USA, higher tariffs mean costlier imports, hurting American consumers and industries reliant on Indian goods as well. So it is not a win-win situation, it is now a lose-lose situation. Oil trade. India's refining of Russian crude oil provides affordable energy and export revenue, but also exposes it to sanctions risk. So, from the geopolitical angle, US branding Ukraine conflict as Modi's war is diplomatically provocative, potentially straining other relations between India and US, such as Quad, Quad cooperation, and strategic trust. India is being equated with authoritarian regimes like Russia and China, a sharp rhetorical escalation from USA standpoint. Democrats highlighting China's bigger role in Russian trades shows partisan splits within USA politics. And from the domestic angle, from India, the Modi government may project this as India's strategic autonomy under attack. Opposition could highlight economic costs of confrontation. Obviously, opposition is going to do what they are going to do, but India, from a neutral point of view, should focus only on its strategic autonomy and nothing else, nothing more or nothing less. Ethical legal dimension. It raises questions on secondary sanctions. Are they unilateral coercive measures undermining sovereignty? Do they violate WTO principles of non-discrimination? Obviously, they are violating WTO principle of non-discrimination because they are discriminating between India and China. Next, they are unilateral coercive measures because it is not from India, it is only from the USA side. So that is why from ethical level as well, US is at the wrong side of the end here. Next, implications for USA-China relationships. It could trigger trade retaliation from India because it is not only India that is exporting to USA, USA also exports things to India. So India could put retaliatory trade tariffs. Next, risks damaging strategic partnership, especially amid China's rise. So one person who is going to benefit out of this India China, so India US tussle is just has to be China because now China is free because major trade partners and major strategic partners who are opponents of China are fighting in between. So next, may push India closer to Russia or China in the short term, though both sides likely want to avoid long-term rupture. Way forward is diplomatic engagement in the UNGA in September, issue linkage strategy. It is India can negotiate oil trade in return for progress on market access or trade deals, and also use of multilateral shield, that is use WTO or G20 to resist unilateral sanctions. Then diversification. India may reduce marginal Russian imports to ease US pressure while safeguarding energy security. We have to wait and see what the outcome will be. Okay, before we go on to this demography dividend article, there is one more article which talks about impact of this tariffs. Okay, impacts of the tariff and which sectors are going to be most impacted. We'll discuss this article and come back to other articles. Okay, so this is from the text and context of the Hindu, which talks about which Indian sectors are worst hit by US tariffs. Again, relevant from GS2 international relations, GS3 economic. The context is 50% trade tariffs on India were imposed by USA, which were effective from yesterday or day before yesterday, that is 27th August 2024. Labor intensive sectors are the hardest hit ones since USA is a major export destination for these labor intensive sectors. Impact are measured by export volume to USA, share of US in sector's total exports, and final tariff burden. So we'll discuss. First, sectors with severe impact. The sectors who are going to face larger losses. First is shrimp or seafood. Their export to USA is around 2.4 billion, that is around 32.4% of shrimp exports. Tariff has been raised from 10% to 60% now. The immediate impact will be shrimp purchase prices in Andhra Pradesh down by 20% already, meaning there are lesser buyers of Indian shrimps because there are lesser buyers of Indian shrimps in the USA. Next, diamonds, gold, and jewelry. The exports amount to 10 billion, which is almost about 40% of sector's exports, meaning out of 100% export of diamonds, golds, and jewelry, 40% goes to US markets. The tariff from 2.1 to 52.1%. The immediate impact was production cuts in Surat, where 12 lakh people were employed in polishing. So the negative impacts is not only going to be on the exports or the loss or the profits, it is also going to be on employment as well. If you are not gaining any profit or if you are not getting any investment, obviously you are going to lay off your employees. When you are laying off your employers, then obviously there will be dearth of employment as well, which is going to aggravate already existing unemployment issues in India. Next is textiles and apparels. Export is of around 10.8 billion, which is around 35% of the export apparel exports. Now tariff again 50% from 13.9% to 63.9%. Impact in Tirupur, rushing shipments, cancelling new styles. Noida Gurugram, expansion frozen and downsizing. And in Ludhiana, yarn fabric demand slump. And in Bengaluru, shift cuts as buyers move offshore. Okay, they are going to move from India to other areas where there is lesser cost, meaning there is lesser tariff. Next, carpets. Exports is around 1.2 billion, that is 58.6% of carpet exports. Tariff again 2.9 to 52.9%. Obviously, again there will be lesser buyers of these carpets. Next is other labor intensive goods such as handicrafts, leather, shoes, furniture, bedding, etc. etc. In agriculture, basmati rice, spices, tea, pulses, sesame, they are going to be hit hardest. Next, the sectors with moderate impact will be organic chemicals, that is tariff from 4 to 54%. The Chemexil is lobbying government for supporting this particular impact. Next is metals such as steel, aluminum, and copper, 4.7 million export, and USA is not the largest market but critical for small and medium enterprises in India, in especially in NCR and Eastern Foundries, that is National Capital Region. Then machineries and mechanical appliances. Export is around 6.7 billions. Demand is expected to dip, obviously, hitting engineering exporters. So that is the major sectors which are going to be impacted by this trade war. So the government response has been, in the short term, multi-ministry support package under discussion. RBI ready to step in with the credit forex easing, and the medium term is push for vocal for local to reduce export dependence. We should follow China model. What is China model? Build a market, build a market so huge that you don't have to export it. A domestic market so huge that you don't have to export it. There are lots of production and there is lot of consumption within their own domestic, within their own within their own country. Meaning what China did when the China was also facing the similar consequences from USA and other countries, they went for domestic manufacturing and increased domestic consumption. So we have to go for the same rule as well. Diversify export destinations and expand free trade agreements leverages between different countries. This way we are going to help, or this way we are going to help sectors which are facing difficulties. Next, moving back to other articles. A very beautiful article. Another article is about, it talks about demographic dividend. Okay, so the second article is about demographic dividend of India. Okay, Okay. So second article is from the editorial of Hindu, which talks about India's demographic, India's demographic dividend as a time bomb, as a ticking time bomb. We'll discuss why the author has a feeling of this one. Important from GS1 and GS2. The opportunity is the demographic dividend. India has 800 plus million youths under 35, one of the world's largest young populations. It is actually one of the largest population, including all the elders and other things from other countries. The youth population of India alone is larger than the whole population of countries like USA and Russia. Next, if skilled properly, they could be the foundation of India's economic rise. The threat, demographic time bomb, that is the outdated education system, preparing students for vanishing jobs, AI revolution, that is up to 70% jobs are being impacted, 30% tasks automated, at curricula update only every 3 years. Next is the employability crisis. Remember, it is not unemployment, but it is employability. Employment is available, but the employability is not there. What is the meaning? Meaning you do not possess the skills that are required for a particular job. That is, 40 to 50% of engineering graduates are unemployed or unemployable, and only 43% of the graduates are job ready, meaning only 43% are employable according to Graduate Skills Index of 2025. Next, career awareness gap. That is, 93% of the school students know only 7 career paths, such as the usual doctor, lawyer, engineer, etc. While 20,000 plus careers are available for youth here, and only 7% receive formal career guidance. Many people might have come out of engineering colleges, medical colleges, or any other colleges for that matter. Most of them have not got this formal career guidance. Only thing they get is when there is a placement drive happening in the particular college. Only then you will get to know about placement drives, or else you do not get any formal career guidance in any colleges. Next is mismatch in higher education. That is, 65% pursued degrees misaligned with their interests or market needs. Next, the systematic gaps. That is, overemphasis on exams and rote learning, weak career readiness. Next is Skill India Mission and other schemes. That is PMKUI, that is Kaushal Vikas Yojana, Sankalp, JSS, etc. fell short of their targets. That is, there is a lack of cohesive strategy. So many schemes are there, but there is no proper fulfilling of the targets. Next, EdTech focus, that is test prep, not a career exploitation or skills. The Indian educational EdTech focus is mainly on passing the exams and not on developing the skills. Next, result is graduates with degrees but not industrial and skills. That is, they are not employable again. Risks of inaction. Rising educated unemployment is resulting into social unrest, protest, and even violence. For example, Mandal Commission agitation in 1990, which was way back in 1990, we can see similar agitation in the coming future when the youth is not properly skilled. Next, creates generation of illiterate but unemployable youth, which is nothing but a demographic time bomb. Okay. Next, echoes land precious argument out, where has the education gone? Where has all the education gone? If all the people are getting educated, why are they not finding jobs? So where did the education actually go? Next, so way forward, in order to avoid this demographic time bomb, we have to focus on building national skill ecosystem, integrating government, private sector, and universities. Focus on reskilling, upskilling, cross-skilling for AI-driven economy. The one of the issue with respect to AI is people who are already employed are also at the risk of losing their jobs. People who are already employed, who think they are job secure, are also at the risk of losing their jobs, because their job is going to be replaced by artificial intelligence. Their job is going to be replaced by automation. Next, so for that, what they should do is go for reskilling, go for upskilling and cross skilling. Curricula, that is career oriented, tech integrated, and future proof. Next, Collaboration with Niti Aayog, AIU, Skill Ministry already being discussed. So we have to move forward in a way that the demographic doesn't turn into disaster, instead turn into a dividend. Next editorial is again from the Hindu, talks about building health for 1.4 billion Indians. Again significant from GS1 and GS2, governance and education policy, society and population. The author here discusses about the dual challenges. What is the dual challenge? One is expand access to underserved millions, especially in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. There are millions of people who are in need of health benefits or health facilities but are not able to access to it because of lack of access. Next, ensure affordability despite rising medical cost. One is accessibility, second is affordability. So there is a need for a systematic interconnected framework combining insurance, efficiency, prevention, technology, regulation and investment. So all these things have to be brought together so that we are addressing the issues of both affordability as well as accessibility. Next, insurance as foundation of affordability. In India, insurance penetration is very low. That is, only 15 to 18% are insured. Premium to GDP ratio is around 3.7% only, whereas at the global level, it is around 7%, which is almost double that of India. Next, even the modest premiums such as 5,000 to 20,000 individuals or 10,000 to 50,000 per families can unlock lakhs in coverages. But the current insurance is episodic, that is hospitalization based, not covering OPD per diagnostics, leading to out of pocket shocks. Okay, even if you have insurances or even if you have covered the insurance, those insurances claimed only when you get hospitalized, only when you get sent to hospital, when you are made to sleep there only, that is when you are hospitalized. And if you go for OPD just for consultation, if you are going only for diagnostics, these are not covered in insurances. As a result, obviously it is going to lead to increased out of pocket expenditure. Next, trust deficit, that is insurers must strengthen claim settlement plus grievance redressals. Next is with respect to efficiency and scale. The author says that India has a unique advantage. That is, what is the advantage? That India already delivers world class care at low cost. That is, MRI machines, 7 8 scans per day in West, whereas many times more in India. Strength comes from workflow innovations, doctor patient ratios, and infrastructure use. So there is a silver lining here. That is, India is a unique advantage, but it has to be expanded to all the underserved people as well. Next frontier is to replicate this efficiency in tier 2 and tier 3 cities which remain underserved. Next, public schemes such as Ayushman Bharat scheme. That is, it covers 500 million people, which is with 5 lakh per family insurance. Enabled millions of cashless treatments, cancer treatment uptake has increased by 90%. Next challenge is bring in private hospitals, needs fair reimbursements and transparent processes. Next, prevention. It is the biggest cost ever. They say that prevention is better than cure. So you have to focus on preventing the diseases rather than curing them, because prevention reduces the cost. Prevention reduces out of pocket expenditure as well. So recently there was a study on Punjab. That is, even insured families suffered from catastrophic expenses on NCDs. What is NCDs? Non-communicable diseases or lifestyle diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, etc. Must redesign insurance to cover OPD plus diagnostics. Nationwide preventive push is required, that is lifestyles, schools, workplaces, communities, and every rupee in healthier lifestyle saves multiple in treatment. So we need to bring in lifestyle changes. When we bring in lifestyle changes, obviously there will be lesser lifestyle diseases. Next, digital health, which is democratizing access. Telemedicine plus artificial intelligence are enabling early detection such as sepsis, diagnostics triage and remote consultation, which has increased the access, which has democratized the access. Next, Ayushman Bharat digital mission Potential for universal health records and continuity of care. Next, a cardiologist in a metro can guide treatment in a remote village, equity via technologies. Next, there is also regulation and trust. So, pollution driven illnesses, that is, insurers considering 10 to 15% premium hike because environmental health risks affect affordability as well. So, they are increasing the premium, meaning the out of pocket expenditure is obviously going to be more, it is going to be costlier now. IRDI, that Insurance Regulatory Department or Authority of India, urged to improve claims transparency, trust drives penetration. Next is robust regulation or fair pricing is equal to deeper insurance adoption. So we should focus on robust regulation and fair pricing. So other talks about investment and growth as well. In 2023, 5.5 billion private equity and venture capital inflow, mostly digital health, pharmacy, metro hospitals. But the challenge is redirecting capital to tier 2 and 3 cities, primary networks and specialist trainings. Other is saying that it is not that we are not getting investment. It is not that there is no funding. The funding is there, but it is concentrated at few places, mainly in tier 1 or metropolitan cities. Now the need is to bring that investment to tier 2 and tier 3 cities as a result, and because of that we are going to address the health issues of all the 1.4 billion Indians. Okay, so very beautiful article again. Next we'll move on to prelims pointers. So the first article in prelims pointer is about export mission. Okay, so the new export promotion mission, that is EPM. So this mission was announced actually in Union Budget 25-26. Aim is to seek to boost India's exports, particularly from the MSMEs, at a time when global demand is slowing and tariff or non-tariff barriers are rising. Example, US tariff hike is one of the major causes. Okay, and government has earmarked 25,000 crores for implementation. Next, objectives. Broad-based export growth, that is, it reduces concentration on a few commodities and markets. Next is inclusive participation, integrates MSME, handicrafts and smaller exports into global value chains. Next is sustainability, promotes compliance with international quality, labor and environmental standards. Resilience, addressing the bottlenecks in export financing, logistics and branding. So it is covering export issues holistically so that it wants to become a mercantile economy or export oriented economy. Institutional framework is the lead ministry is Department of Commerce or the Ministry of Commerce and jointly driven by Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Ministry of MSME, Ministry of Finance. Under this there are two sub schemes. One is Nirayat Protsahan. Nirayat Protsahan is for 10,000 plus crore rupees, that is focus on financial support for exporters. Under this, there are components are interest equalization support, that is 5,000 crore rupees is allotted over the year of between 25 to 31. Alternative trade finance, factoring, forfeiting and cross-border credit will also be provided here. Credit card for e-commerce exporters, that is easy access to working capital. Next, financing mechanisms to address liquidity crunch. Okay. Next is Nirayat Disha, that is 14,500 crore. Focus is on market access and competitiveness. Components are export quality compliance, that is 4,000 crore has been allotted to quality compliance. Overseas market development, 4,000 crore again here, and branding and promotion of Indian products globally. Next, export warehousing and logistics hubs and capacity building such as skill training and technology adoption for MSME. So the first component of the scheme was addressing the finance issue. Second component is addressing the market access issue. So the expected benefits out of this mission will be eases export financing constraints, especially for the medium and small middle-term enterprises. Then helps India tackle non-tariff barriers in global markets, especially sanitary and phytosanitary and sanitary and phytosanitary tariffs put by most of the European countries. Then improves India's participation in global value chains, supports job creation in labor-intensive sectors like textiles, gems, and jewelry handicrafts, strengthens India's long-term export resilience amid global protectionism such as the recent USA tariff. So criticism is there is a need for timely fund dispersal because past export incentive schemes like MEIS, that is merchandise export incentive scheme, were suffered from delays. WTO compliance concerns, that is subsidies and interest equalization, may face global scrutiny. Then effectiveness depends on coordination between ministries and alignment with FTAs. Risk of overemphasis on subsidies instead of structural reforms might hamper the structural aspects of this export orientation. Okay, so this is about this one. Second is the final article for today is about Guillain-Barré syndrome. Guillain-Barré syndrome, that is GBS. What is it? It is a rare autoimmune disorder where body's immune system mistakenly attacks peripheral nervous system of the human being as well. Okay, what is the use of immune system? The immune system is attacking the pathogens that are coming out of the body. But in Guillain-Barré syndrome, what happens here is the immune system mistakenly attacks our own peripheral nervous system itself, that is nerves outside the brain or spinal cord, also called as acute inflammatory demyelinating polyradiculoneuropathy. Okay, polyradiculoneuropathy. Okay, that is demyelinating polyradio polyradiculoneuropathy. Okay, so difficult to remember, just remember this one. Guillain-Barré syndrome is fine. Results in muscle weakness, sensory changes, and in severe cases full body paralysis as well. What are the causes and triggers? The exact causes are still unknown, but it often follows viral or bacterial infection such as Zika or influenza. The vaccination is there, or like not a vaccination. Whenever you do vaccination, it starts acting against vaccination itself, and major surgery or trauma. Whenever these three cases happens, most of the times the immune system starts attacking your own body. Next, the immune system becomes hyperactive, damaging nerve myelin sheaths and impairing signal transmission. When the signal transmission reduces, the body movement also reduces. As a result, you become paralyzed. Symptoms: it starts with fever, tingling or weakness in legs, progressing upwards. That is ascending paralysis. Loss of reflexes, numbness, difficulty walking. In severe cases, paralysis of like respiratory muscles, need for ventilator support, etc. etc. Symptoms may peak within hours to weeks. So this is about Guillain-Barré syndrome, and the treatment here is, there is no particular treatment here, no definitive cure, but therapies can improve the recovery. Therapies such as plasma exchange, which is also called as plasmapheresis, which removes harmful antibodies, and then intravenous immunoglobulin, which blocks damaging antibodies, and also supportive care, physiotherapy, ventilatory support, pain management, etc. Next is prognosis, that is most recovery within 6 months to a few years. Mortality is only 5 to 7%, which is also high only. Some may have residual weaknesses or fatigue even after recovery from this disease. So recent context is Gaza has reported surge in GBS cases, raising concerns due to limited medical infrastructure, ongoing conflict, and difficulty in accessing advanced care like ventilator support and IVIG therapy. So this is how various results of war, you can say. Okay, it is not just the direct attack of the missiles or the tanks, etc., that is going to harm the people. It is also the side effects. It is also the following effects of the war as well, such as hunger, such as famine, such as diseases like this. So that is why people are forcing for a stop on this war, both in Israel and Palestine, both in Ukraine and Russia. Okay, so this ends the discussion for the day. If you like the video, then please hit the like button, comment on it, and also share with your friends. And if you are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon so that you don't miss any notification. With this, I will end the video. Jai Hind.